Hey Nick, how do I increase the font size on this phone?
We live in a fast-paced developing world where technology is booming at an absurdly high rate. We must be competent and knowledgeable in this digital age. But not everyone is in position to access these digital technologies. The ability to access computers and the internet has become crucial to survive in the economic, political, and social aspects of our current world. The idea of a digital divide refers to the growing gap between the underprivileged members of society. In particular, the poor, those living in rural areas, the elderly, or those with a disability. And these are just some examples of people who may not have access to this new technology. This has opened up a divide between different demographics and different groups in society. On one hand, sections of society are highly connected, such as those with a good income, those with an education, and younger generation households. On the other hand, we have the elderly, the poor, and the disadvantaged who have lower rates of internet, and they continue to lag behind in connectivity. No pun intended. Age appears to be one of the biggest factors in the divide. According to the Office of National Statistics figures, 99% of those aged 16 to 24 have used the internet, dropping to just 40% of those aged 65 and over. Now, my mum isn't quite 65 yet, but I've already noticed that we go about our daily routine in different ways. And I can see the divide between her and me and my sister. Let's take a look at the divide when simply just wanting to wish someone a happy birthday. Different generations approach everyday living in their own way, but the way we operate today is strongly predicated on the use of our technology. We have advanced tremendously in the ways in which we communicate. Gone are the days where you'd have to call up your girlfriend's landline and ask the parents for permission to speak to her. Now you can just send a text all day long, or even FaceTime her if you want. Nowadays you barely have to leave the house to shop. You can just get everything dropped to your house. You don't have to go to Video Easy, you can just go on Netflix and just search as many movies as you can, and you don't have to worry or not whether Video Easy has the right DVD for you. You no longer have to go see the grumpy bank man who will help you sort out your funds. Instead, you can just go straight to an ATM and check your balance there. No one carries cash anymore. I know I don't. I just take my card everywhere. Paywave, beep beep. And my grandparents' favourite is the Melways. They still think they know the right ways to go with all these new roads, and I just get up Google Maps and off we go. 20 minutes pop. And the ease of use should be available and to be used by anyone and everyone, as many people as possible. Many elderly people would have to pay for help in the online scene, or they don't have options because communities don't offer them any help either. And if they don't have their families there to support them through it, their communities don't have the free technology available to them. They are also very vulnerable to online scams and people trying to sell them things. This can definitely bring on anxieties and make them feel at risk in an online setting. I know my grandma is very traditional, and she gets a bit afraid and stubborn when it comes to the internet. And she has a certain level of nervousness when it comes to the new technologies, and this keeps her from using it to solve her own problems in her everyday life. Like, for example, she doesn't even have her own mobile phone, and she relies heavily on my grandpa's technologies, which I must admit aren't that crash hot in the first place, and this often leads to miscommunications and conflict within the family. But my nana certainly wouldn't be the only one that feels this way. I'm sure she's in a boat with thousands and thousands of others. In saying that, there is a growing emergence of internet and training sessions in aged care facilities, local community groups, and plenty of other locations. This is crucial when trying to bridge that digital gap between the youngsters and the oldies. While these divides do create a large gap, these platforms are supposed to make life easier, not harder. So instead of sending a text message to your grandparents or parents and waiting for a reply 3 days later, just get them around and try and teach them about the digital age. That way, together, we can attempt to bridge that digital divide. Community groups, and plenty of other locations. And it, I can't say invite them over. So instead of sending a text, so instead of texting